Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, American Comics. Under Loki, the Frozen Fruit Ability. Chapter 61. Ding. It is detected that the host is currently facing a major event, and the main task is now issued. Mission 1000. Asgard Collapse Plan. You have a successful career, a family and a career. As a younger brother, you have reached the pinnacle of your life early. For the sake of Father's wish and the future of Big Brother, please follow the established plan to make Thor Odinson Metamorphosis a qualified heir to the throne. Ding. It is detected that this mission is the 1000th main mission of the host, and the system will upgrade the rewards of this mission. After completing the task, the host will receive a heavy reward. For the tasks issued by the system, Loki originally didn't want to bother. Because since the skill of King's Treasure was spawned in the third main quest, all the task rewards issued by the system in the subsequent 900-odd main-line quests and more than 2,000 side-line quests were treasures from King's Treasure Tool Supplement Pack. Except for a skylock that can satisfy Loki, the other treasures are completely unable to bring him any help in terms of Loki's current strength. More treasure booster packs, the only function may be to add some new weapons to Anna's dress-up magic, that's all. It is the main task issued by the system this time, and the heavy learning is not to let the roadbed move. In addition, this task coincides with his own action plan. If he can complete the Asgard Collapse Plan and at the same time receive another system reward, Loki thinks it is not a bad idea. However, whether it is Asgard Crash Plan or a system task, it takes a long time to wait for the final result. Loki's planning this time will span decades. He will not let Thor fall into hell in an instant like he used illusion before, but once awakening comes, everything will be as usual. This time, Loki will use the method of cutting flesh with a blunt knife to make Thor experience constant pain. Only in this way can Thor's spirit and will be polished and healed. I believe that after going through this series of blows, Thor will definitely be able to be reborn from the ashes, and complete the cocoon breaking from Thor to Thor, and from Thor to King. Earth. New York Holy Place. Since Loki and Sif left, Ancient One quickly arranged for a mage of Kamar Taj to be the Holy Place Asgardian. And Aisha and Anna, the two filial daughters, did not know that their parents had returned to Jotunheim until 2 years later. After the two found out about this, they cheered for joy. If it wasn't for the phone call, they would all have jumped up and clapped their hands. After these 2 years of study, both Tony and Anna completed their credits ahead of schedule and graduated from MIT. Tony chose to study abroad to broaden his knowledge. Anna made a different choice and had no intention of continuing her studies. Originally, part of the reason why she studied so hard was because of the expectations of Loki and Sif, and part of the reason was to save her face as the head of the big sister. Now that Loki and Sif are not by her side, and there is no way to continue to control her, Anna immediately decides to let herself go and experience some life that she has never experienced before. So after discussing with Aisha, Anna decided to move to live with Aisha. Aisha has now completed the training of the Air Force Academy and has become a flight officer with the rank of captain. Currently, I live with my good friends Carol Danvers and Maria Rambo, whom I met at the Air Force Academy, and Maria Rambo's daughter, Monica Rambo, in a separate building not far from the Air Force training base. Among the villas. Both Carol and Maria had no objection to Anna's arrival and expressed their welcome. After getting along for a period of time, Anna quickly integrated into Elsa's sister group. Aisha, can I visit the base where you work and train? I haven't seen what a real fighter jet looks like yet. Besides, the way you sit in the cockpit in flight suits must be very charming. After Aisha and the others finished their flight training for the day, Anna took Aisha's arm and asked. This may be a bit difficult. If we only visit the training base in normal times, we can still apply to the officer. But now because we have been selected and participated in the Tianma project, even if we submit the application, there is a high probability that we will not be able to pass it. Before Aisha could answer, Maria Rambo poured cold water on Anna. But just when Anna looked disappointed, Aisha said, actually, if you really want to visit our base, it's not like you have no chance at all. What chance? My dear sister, don't be a fool. Anna's expression of disappointment immediately became agitated when she heard this. Anna, the person in charge of the Tianma project we are participating in, you know, that is Howard Uncle. If you just enter the base for a brief visit and see your sister's heroic appearance, I think Howard Uncle will be willing to help you with this little favor. When Anna heard this, she quickly shook off Aisha's arm, which she was holding just now, and ran to the phone and walked out the back door. But when Anna successfully entered the Air Force Base the next day, she felt a little disappointed when she saw the plane Aisha and the others were flying. After all, no matter what, Anna has seen such an extremely luxurious flight device as Vimana, as well as Asgard's space fleet. At the moment, after seeing these rather primitive fighter jets on the Earth, he immediately felt that the job of a flight officer was not as good as Aisha usually described to her. But what Anna didn't expect was that she could find unexpected joy in the Air Force Base. Because in a shady corner of the base, Anna saw a Yuan devourer that she had only seen in the books of Asgard and Jotunheim. Ever since she knew of the existence of the Yuan devourer, Danuo's beast, Anna has always hoped that she could raise one. Because the belly of the devouring beast is actually connected to a different dimension, and anything can be put into this dimension by it. That's why Anna always thinks, if she can raise a Yuan devourer, then when she uses dress-up magic in the future, she can put the weapon in the Yuan devourer's stomach without the help of her father, the treasure of the Lord. Thinking of this, Anna tiptoed towards the Yuan devouring beast. But just when she was about to pick it up, a voice froze her hands in midair. "Little girl, which department are you from? Why are you here?" "Hi, my name is Wendy Lawson." Anna turned her head and saw a middle-aged woman with short white hair standing behind her, wearing an Air Force leather jacket, and stretched out her right hand towards herself. Anna also stood up, took her hand and introduced herself. "I am Anna Locustadir, the sister of Elsa Locustadir. Today I came in for a visit through an application." Hearing this, Wendy Lawson looked at Anna's chest and saw that there was indeed a visitor's badge, and confirmed that Anna was not lying. "Do you need me to show you around here? I'm quite familiar with the situation here. In addition, you have to be careful with this little guy. It's called Goo. Don't look at its harmless and cute appearance. Actually, it is very fierce," Wendy Lawson said, hugging Gu who was lying in the corner into his arms. "Is it your pet?" Anna looked at Gu with some reluctance and asked. Wendy Lawson shook her head. "No, it's my partner. I always take it with me when I'm flying." "That's such a pity. But Wendy, although Gugu is your partner, you'd better give it a tag. I thought it was a stray cat that sneaked in from somewhere." Anna, a little disappointed, reminded. "It seems to be the case. When I get back from get off work today, I will prepare a collar and tag for Gu. Wendy also accepted Anna's suggestion. "Yeah, that's good. If there is no hang tag, it's not good if Goo gets lost or is taken away by others. Wendy, you go and do it. I have almost visited the base. I will go, and my sister said hello and is going back." Wendy held Goo in her arms and waved goodbye to Anna. But after Anna turned around, the expression on her face changed instantly, from the smile on her face just now, to a very dignified one. Because in Anna's perception, that Dr. Wendy is very strange. The opponent's energy field is not like what a common earthling can possess at all. It's like the devouring beast and the orange cat of the earth, the Asgard people and the Midgardian people, although they are very similar in appearance, but for Anna, who can perceive different life energy fields, they can be easily distinguished. The reason why Anna didn't expose Wendy Lawson's identity on the spot was because she didn't know the whole story. CHFD, on the one hand, why did Aisha keep silent? She decided to ask Aisha what was going on. Unexpectedly, when she heard Anna mentioning Wendy Lawson, Aisha directly pulled her aside, avoiding Carol and Maria. "Anna, have you met Dr. Lawson?" Aisha asked with some surprise. Anna nodded. "I met a lady named Wendy Lawson, and she also owns a Yuan devourer." "Aisha, you should have discovered that she is not from Midgardian, right?" Hearing Anna's direct question, Aisha didn't hide anything, and said frankly, "Dr. Lawson is the person in charge of one of the photon engine projects in the Tianma project I am participating in. I am meeting with you about the matter you mentioned." Found out on her first day. "Then did you tell Uncle Howard? What did he say?" Anna asked. Aisha shook her head. "No, I didn't tell Uncle Howard the identity of Dr. Lawson." "Why?" Anna was puzzled. If she... Aisha raised her hand and interrupted Anna, saying, "I know what you want to say, but but Dr. Lawson is not that kind of person, she will not harm the earth. And how do you think I should explain this matter to Howard, uncle? Could it be that because our family is also aliens, can we sense Dr. Lawson's difference? Hearing Aisha's rhetorical question, Anna was stunned immediately. She really hadn't considered this question. After being silent for a while, Anna continued to ask, then what is the purpose of her coming to Earth? Is she simply living in seclusion here like us? Or is she, as a scientist, wanting to help the Earth improve its technological level? Neither. Aisha denied Anna's guess. Dr. Lawson is actually a Cree, whose real name is Marvel. The reason why she came to Earth is because she heard that Tesseract appeared on Earth. Wait, Anna interrupted Aisha's narration in surprise. Why would a Cree know about the Tesseract on Earth? Both Aisha and Anna knew about Odin hiding the Tesseract in Midgard. Because Loki once told them this story, and Loki also mentioned that he once stole the Tesseract and then developed the flying Thor. But Loki later put the Tesseract back intact. It stands to reason that no one should know about the Tesseract except Odin, Thor, Loki and their sisters. But now that Marvel was able to inquire about the Tesseract outside the Nine Realms, how many alien civilizations in the vast universe have already heard about this news? When mentioning this matter, Aisha also seemed to have a headache. It is estimated that when Grandpa hid the Tesseract in Midgard, he would not have imagined that the level of technology on this planet would develop so fast. I only found out about this after I entered the Pegasus project. It turned out that Tesseract was discovered by an evil organization called Hydra as early as World War II. Hydra uses the energy in Tesseract to manufacture weapons through advanced technology. Almost completely changed the situation of the war at that time. As for what happened afterwards, you also saw in the United States Captain's Memorial, Hydra failed. And the Tesseract was actually on the plane where Steve Rogers crashed. Howard uncle accidentally salvaged the Tesseract when searching for the captain's body later. The so-called Tianma project is actually a secret project around the development and utilization of the Tesseract. Hearing this, Anna didn't even know what to say. This kind of behavior in Midgard is simply equivalent to a child holding a treasure to swagger through the market, directly exposing himself to danger. For those alien civilizations that have developed, once they find that the Tesseract is on the Earth, no matter whether the Earth is ready for war or not, the enemy will not show any kindness because of the weakness of the Earth. Aisha obviously also saw Anna's thoughts. There is no way, it is too late to hide this news now. I just hope that Midgard can really get some research results on the Tesseract before the real enemy arrives. Quote, if the light speed engine researched by Dr. Lawson can be successfully tested, then in the face of alien civilization, even if Midgard loses, at least there is still a chance to escape. Light speed engine. Is this why Dr. Lawson is looking for the Tesseract? As a genius who graduated from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Anna captured the key information in Aisha's words at once. Yes, Aisha nodded and said, the Carey Empire, to which Dr. Lawson belongs, is a very powerful civilization in the universe. The Cree Empire provoked wars everywhere in the universe in order to expand, and Dr. Lawson resolutely betrayed the Cree Empire after seeing the injustice of these wars. And in order to protect the Screws being hunted down by the Cree Empire, Dr. Lawson found Tesseract and developed the light speed engine. With the light speed engine, the fleet of the Cree Empire will no longer be able to catch up with the Skrulls. Quote. At the moment Anna's eyes widened, and she looked at her sister Aisha in disbelief. So, the Earth is very likely to be targeted by the powerful Cree Empire. Such an important things, Aisha, you didn't say it earlier. Aisha quickly appeased her sister Anna and said, don't worry, Dr. Lawson has been very careful. The people of the Carey Empire don't know her plan, and they don't know that she and the Screws are hiding on the Earth. And even if people from the Carey Empire really came after them, wouldn't there still be Dad, Mom, and the others? Having said that, Aisha suddenly stopped. Because she suddenly remembered one thing, Loki and Sif seemed to have returned to Jotunheim, not in Midgard. Ah, if it doesn't work, the two of us should be able to last for a while, right? Aisha said with some embarrassment. Anna covered her forehead, she really couldn't see her sister's mindless behavior. It seems that what my father said is still reasonable. Reading more books is the most effective way to increase wisdom. With the abilities of the two of us, if we want to protect ourselves or some people in front of the fleet of the Cree Empire, it is indeed true, no problem. But if we want to protect the entire Midgard from being destroyed under the attack of the Carey Empire, this is beyond the scope of our current ability. Aisha also understands that what Anna said is the truth, but at the same time she really wants to help Dr. Lawson and the Skrulls. Is there no way to have the best of both worlds? Aisha said, looking at her sister with pitiful eyes. Although she is 3 years older than Anna in terms of age, and she is very gifted in the study of magic. But when it comes to IQ, Elsa also admits that Anna is smarter than herself. No matter what difficulties she encountered since she was a child, Anna can always help her think of a solution. Seeing Elsa looking at herself like that, what else can Anna do? Definitely help her. After thinking for a while in silence, Anna said to Aisha, "First of all, we need to analyze our own situation. Who is the enemy we are going to face?" Aisha said uncertainly, "Carey Empire." Anna shook her head. Not only the Carey Empire, but also all the alien civilizations on Earth who already know the Tesseract. Then what strengths can we use here? What are there? Elsa didn't even try this time, and just waited for Anna to give her an answer. But Anna's answer was a little desperate. "No. Mom and Dad left a note saying that Jotunheim and Asgard have something to go back to deal with, which means that we can't expect help from these two parties. As for Ancient One Mage and Kamar Taj, although they have enough power to solve the problem of alien civilization invasion. But their duty is to protect the safety of Midgard in magic test, so they will not help us." Aisha said with a bitter expression. "After all, isn't this something that can only be done by the two of us?" Anna gave a thumbs up and praised, "Hey, not bad. Aisha, you have improved, and you can actually understand this." Regarding Anna's yin and yang ridicule, Aisha gave her a blank stare. "Get out." "Then what should we do? You should tell me quickly." "Don't worry, if you want to solve the problem, you must first find all the known conditions. There are actually two crises facing the Earth now. The first is the Kree Empire's pursuit of the Skrulls. Once they find the Skrulls, the Lu people are on the Earth, so the Earth may be affected during the arrest process. The second crisis is the leak of the Tesseract's location, which may attract snatches from powerful alien civilizations. To solve these two crises, the fundamental solution must be to make the Earth stronger. As long as it has enough strength, any enemy is a paper tiger. But it's a pity that this matter can't be done by just the two of us. It requires the accumulation and hard work of generations on the Earth. However, there are still ways to treat the symptoms." "What is the solution to the symptoms?" Aisha asked impatiently. "The answer is on the surface of the riddle," Anna replied. "What do you mean? Riddler, get out of Gotham." Anna's answer made Elsa confused. "It means that Tesseract is not only the source of the crisis, but also the solution to the crisis. Like Dad's Millennium building blocks, Tesseract has unlimited energy. With Aisha's current strength, if you can use Tesseract to increase your strength, I don't think it should be your opponent, whether it is the fleet of the Kree Empire or other alien civilizations." After listening to Anna's explanation, Ailey immediately became excited. "That's right, Anna, you are so clever, you can think of such a clever way. If I have Tesseract in my hand, no matter how many people they come, I am sure to freeze them all into ice cubes." Anna agreed. "Yes, under the condition of unlimited supply of magic power. I think it's Dad's unique move Mokobatama, you can try it too, Aisha." "So, where is the Tesseract, Elsa, you should know." Quote. As Anna's voice fell, the two fell into a sudden silence. At this moment, an alarm suddenly sounded in the base. Seeing this, Aisha and Anna hurried out from the corner to check the situation. Anna saw Maria Rambo with a tense expression, so she immediately stepped forward to stop her and asked, "Maria, what happened?" Seeing that it was Aisha and Anna, Maria gradually calmed down, and said to them, "Just now Dr. Wendy Lawson came to tell me and Carol that she will conduct the first real flight test of the light speed engine today. Because I promised Monica to pick her up from school tonight, Carol took the initiative to take over the task of the first real flight test. But just now, the command tower received a signal from Carol requesting support. They were attacked by an unknown enemy plane. Now the tower is calling for flight to fly the second country fighter plane to support." Anna and Aisha looked at each other when they heard the words, and communicated with their eyes. Could it be someone from the Kree Empire? Aisha was not sure, so she could only respond to her with the same eyes. There is this possibility. So Anna made a decisive decision, looked at Maria and asked, "Then what are you and Aisha waiting for? Hurry up and prepare to support Carol." But Maria and Aisha showed helpless expressions at the same time. Maria explained to her, "Here, female flight crews are not allowed to participate in combat. Even if the three of us have better results in training than all male flight crews, this result has not changed in any way." Aisha also nodded and said, "That's right, if Uncle Howard hadn't helped me back then, I might have failed in the registration stage, and I wouldn't have been able to enter the Air Force Academy at all. Do you know why only the three of us were selected for the Tianma project? Is it a female flight attendant?" Having said that, Anna has been able to speculate the reason, because your chief wants to exclude you from combat missions. That's right. So even though Maria and I would very much like to fly to Carol right now and support her, there's nothing we can do. Then can we just wait for the news here? Anna was a little anxious. Although she and Carol hadn't known each other for a long time, she already regarded him as one of her most important friends. "No, I can't just sit and wait. Maria, stay here and wait for Carol's news to come back. Aisha, come with me." Anna took Aisha's hand and ran towards the corner where they were talking just now. After confirming that there is no one around and there is no monitoring device, he asked Aisha, "Aisha, do you still remember how to drive Vamana?" While talking, Anna opened the mirror space. Then using the dress-up magic, Vamana was summoned from Loki's king's treasure. Aisha suddenly realized, looked at Anna and said, "You mean?" "That's right, we acted secretly. As long as we don't get discovered by others, it doesn't mean we haven't done anything." "Haha, great idea. You are indeed my sister Elsa. Come on, get on the spaceship. My sister will let you experience the superb flight skills I have trained over the years." Woohoo! As expected, it's more fun to fly the Vamana flight. The speed of the Earth's fighter jets is too slow. As soon as Aisha took off in the Vamana, she immediately flew wildly in the mirror space. Anna, who was sitting next to her, also shouted excitedly, "It's been a long time since I've been in the Vamana you're driving, sister, it's really tight pants." Elsa and Anna sat in Vamana and headed north, following Carol's previous flight route. Relying on Vamana's extreme speed, the two quickly found the place where Carol had an accident. "That's the place where the smoke is coming out, sister. Stop it." Vamana cannot appear outside the mirror space. While supporting Carol, Anna did not forget to keep their identities secret. Anna took Vamana back in the mirror space again, then summoned two golden masks to cover her face, and then opened the portal to the crash site of Carol's plane. The two of them walked out of the mirror space, and saw Carol lying unconscious on the ground with blood on his face. Not far from the wreckage of the plane, it was Wendy Lawson who had no signs of life. In addition, a man and a woman appeared at the accident scene, and they were about to take the unconscious Carol away. The energy fields on them are very special, very similar to Dr. Lawson. Aisha and Anna immediately judged that the other party must be a pursuer from the Kree Empire. Knowing that the other party was an enemy, Aisha and Anna didn't hold back, and directly attacked their heads. Elsa used the magic of ice and snow to create an ice arrow and shot it at the male Kree's head. And Anna took out the spiral sword, and the blade released sword light extending like a rainbow, straight for the head of the female Kree. However, those two had very rich combat experience. After they perceived danger, they dropped the unconscious Carol in an instant, and dodged immediately. Aisha's ice arrow was dodged by the opponent, fell into the river not far away and exploded a splash, and then was instantly condensed into ice crystals by the low temperature. Another female Kree reacted equally quickly, bending over to avoid Anna's fatal blow. But the attack of the spiral sword is not so light that one can retreat all over the body. Anna took advantage of the trend and swung the sword down. This time the opponent finally couldn't dodge, and Anna cut off his left arm with a sword. Seeing that the situation was not good, the two quickly launched an attack towards the ground, stirring up a thick cloud of smoke and dust, blocking Elsa and Anna's sight. "Aisha, you must not let them run away. If you let them bring the news back to the Kree Empire, then the Earth will be in big trouble." As Anna spoke, she launched the spiral sword again, and the smoke screen created by the enemy was a horizontal slash. However, this luck attack didn't accomplish anything. After suffering from Anna's hand just now, the enemy has already taken precautions against it. At the same time, Aisha was ready to go, and the icy cold air spread rapidly from her feet towards the direction of the enemy, and everything she passed was frozen by it. Can Aisha's attack leave enemies behind? As the smoke cleared, the enemies and their spaceships were long gone. Both Aisha and Anna can already imagine that in the not-too-distant future, the Kree Empire will lead their fleet, and the army will crush the border. Fortunately, Carol was not taken away by them. What should we do now? Those two Kree people, after they go back, they will definitely bring all the things on Earth back to the Kree Empire. Aisha asked, a little annoyed. She released the cold attack just now, because she was worried about hurting the unconscious Carol. She didn't use her full strength. As a result, the two Kree managed to escape. The matter of the Kree Empire can be discussed later. Aisha, don't you find that Carol's current state is a little bit wrong? Hearing what Anna said, Aisha discovered that Carol's bioenergy field at the moment had undergone earth-shaking changes. If the biological energy field of Elsa and Anna is used as a reference, then Carol's energy field strength is now between the two sisters, and it is very close to Elsa of level sub-godfather. What's going on here? What did the two Kree people do to Carol? After realizing the changes in Carol, Aisha was furious. So much so that the magic power of ice and snow in her body went out of control, and the cold air was constantly blowing out. Calm down, sister, it's not necessarily what the two Kree people did. If they had this kind of ability, wouldn't it be better to use it on themselves? They wouldn't have escaped so embarrassingly just now. Anna's words quickly calmed Aisha's anger. If it wasn't them, how did Carol become what he is now? Dr. Lawson did it. Analyzing the current information, I can't give a definite answer. I'm afraid we will have to wait for Carol to wake up before we know the ins and outs of the matter. Now we should leave, the support sent by the base is about to arrive. Aisha glanced at Carol again to confirm that the other party was fine for the time being, and then followed Anna through the portal and returned to the Air Force base. But what happened next was completely beyond the control of Aisha and Anna. Although Carol successfully woke up, but lost all the memories of the past. The crash between her and Dr. Lawson was also recorded as an accident. In addition, with the death of Dr. Lawson, the Tesseract, which was taken away by her to study the light speed engine, also disappeared, and the Tianma project was forced to suspend. Without the tasks of the Tianma project, Maria and Aisha, the two nominal flight members, fell into a state of unemployment in an instant. The only person who gained something from this incident may be Anna, who adopted Cuckoo. After all, once Dr. Lawson died, there would be no one to take care of Cuckoo, so he couldn't let this majestic beast eat mice by himself. So Anna took advantage of Howard's relationship and, reluctantly, adopted this poor kitten. However, in order to create another dressing space in the different dimensional space of Gugu's belly, Anna still needs to slowly accumulate her own weapons and armor. Aisha, Anna and Maria have been waiting for several days, but they have not waited for a chance to meet Carol. This also makes them feel that something is not right. Aisha and Anna decided to sneak into the hospital ward where Carol was being treated, to confirm whether Carol's situation was consistent with what their superiors had informed them. Taking advantage of the night, Aisha used magic to cover her and Anna's figures, and then the two walked to the base hospital together. But the closer they got to the hospital, the more strange the sisters felt. There are surprisingly many patrols and guards deployed around the hospital. Compared with the usual situation in the hospital, the number of security personnel has at least doubled. This made Aisha and Anna more and more sure that things here must not be simple. The two came carefully to the front of Carol's ward, but to their surprise, there was no one guarding it. It was only after they opened the door and entered that they realized why no manpower was deployed here, because Carol was not in this ward at all. What should we do? We don't even know where Carol was taken by them now. Aisha looked at Anna anxiously, hoping to get an answer from her. And Anna did not disappoint Aisha, and she could give her the way forward every time she encountered difficulties. Don't worry, you forgot that before we left the crash site, I left the magic imprint of Flying Thor on the back of Carol's hand. Unless Carol is taken to a place where magic induction can be completely isolated, we will be able to find her location. Yeah, Anna, you are amazing. Mwah. The excited Aisha directly took Anna's delicate and soft cheeks and kissed them. However, she was disgusted by Anna, and wiped the place where Aisha had kissed vigorously with her sleeve. Anna, you actually dislike me. Elsa's eyes widened in disbelief. Okay, Elsa, don't play tricks, I'm going to start to feel the magic mark left on Carol. Seeing Elsa's plan broke out, Anna quickly changed the subject. Seeing this, Aisha could only give up and quietly waited for the result. Carol is still in the hospital. After a while, Anna sensed Carol's location, and, it's just below room of this ward. Below, Aisha said in surprise, but aren't we on the first floor? There are no floors below. Quote. Anna shook her head. Maybe it's not that there is no such thing, it's just that no one has ever discovered it. Let's go down and have a look. After Anna finished speaking, she opened the portal at her feet. The two of them lost their feet and fell straight down. Sure enough, there is an unknown secret space underground in the hospital. The construction here is very exquisite, and the area is not small. It has obviously existed for a long time. Anna analyzed. Aisha, let's go to Carol first, I'm worried that there may be some accidents if we go late. Okay. Anna snapped and pulled Aisha along the guidance of the magic mark, and soon they came to a room. Carol's in there, Anna whispered. Aisha nodded, and then cast a layer of invisibility magic on the two of them, and then with the help of the magic of the mirror space, they quietly passed through the barrier of the door. But as soon as they entered the room, they saw a scene that shocked both of them at the same time. In the dimly lit room, a group of green-skinned, ugly alien creatures chattered endlessly at a screen. And behind them is Carol Danvers, who disappeared from the ward. Carol was hung upside down by the aliens on a strange device, and a device on either side of her temples was releasing blues electric waves towards her temples. Judging from the flashback of Carol's memory on the screen, these alien creatures are trying to read Carol's memory. Aisha, freeze them first. After we rescue Carol, we will torture them, Anna said to Aisha. Aisha nodded. The magic power of ice and snow surged in her body, and a burst of extreme cold was released instantly. In the entire room, apart from Carol, Aisha and Anna, all other objects immediately bloomed with ice flowers. Those ugly alien creatures who peeped at Carol's memory in front of the screen were also temporarily imprisoned in the frozen ice shell. With Aisha's spell casting, her and Anna's originally hidden figures were completely exposed. Anna summoned a sharp sword using the magic of dressing up, and accurately cut off the device that bound Carol's limbs, and then hugged Carol firmly with one hand, holding Carol firmly in her arms. Aisha, wake up Carol with magic. Anna took Carol back to Aisha, but Aisha's awakening magic was very direct, condensing a snowball and hitting Carol's face just like that. However, the effect of this move was good. Under the stimulation of Snowball's coldness, Carol's eyelids began to tremble slightly, and then he gradually woke up. Carol, how are you? Seeing this, Aisha hurried to Carol and asked. But what she didn't expect was that Carol looked at her eyes full of fear and confusion, as if seeing a stranger. Where am I? Who are you guys? Who am I? Carol looked around in a daze, and then looked nervously at Aisha and Anna. She seemed to be very familiar with these two people in front of her, but no matter how she recalled, she couldn't find any memories in her mind. Your name is Carol Danvers, and you are an Air Force flight officer. We are your friends, Elsa and Anna. As for this place, to be honest, we don't know what the hell this is, Anna explained to Carol. Carol, do you remember anything? Aisha asked again. Carol shook his head. The expression on his face became a little painful. She covered her head with her hands and struggled to say, no, I can't remember anything. Aisha stepped forward to hug her, and gently stroked her head. Okay, Carol. It doesn't matter if you can't remember it for a while, don't force yourself. Speaking of which, Aisha looked at Anna again. It seems that we need to go back to Asgard. In Carol's current situation, we need to use the soul-forging furnace to solve it. Impossible. Anna denied Aisha's thoughts. Asgard prohibits mortals from entering, have you forgotten? Then what should we do? How about we ask Mom and Dad for help? With Dad's means, he must have a way to help Carol. Aisha suggested again. As far as the current situation is concerned, Anna can't think of a good solution. The abilities that she and Aisha are good at are not healing, and asking Loki and Sif for help is also a feasible option. You can try it, but Aisha, are you sure you want to go back to see Dad? Before you left without saying goodbye and directly signed up for the Air Force Academy, Dad was so angry that he almost demolished the house. Hearing Anna's reminder, Aisha's back suddenly broke out in cold sweat, and her face turned pale in an instant. I almost forgot about it. Elsa can be said to be the one who knows how much my father holds grudges. But this time for her friend Carol, even if she threw herself into the trap, Aisha accepted it. It's okay, I'm his daughter anyway, and he won't do anything to me. If something really happens, I'll hide behind you and Mom. Hearing what Aisha said, the corners of Anna's mouth couldn't help twitching. I thought you were so righteous, but you still use me and my mother as a shield. Hey, my good sister, Aisha said with a flattering expression, you just have pity on my sister and help me. Okay, I'll just help you, don't be so disgusting, okay. Carol will get sicker because of your fright. After dismissing Aisha, Anna came to Carol and said softly, Carol, you have temporarily lost your memory because of an accident. In order to help you retrieve your past memories, we may take you to a place that is very strange to you later, can you trust us? Although Carol's eyes were still full of confusion, she could feel an inexplicable sense of intimacy and familiarity from the two strangers in front of her. So facing Anna's question, Carol nodded and agreed with almost no hesitation. Seeing that Carol was willing to believe in herself, Anna also showed a joyful smile on her face. She looked at Aisha and said, Aisha, if you are mentally prepared, we are leaving now. Aisha nodded as if she was dead, and then opened the portal to the Jotunheim palace. In Jotunheim, Loki, who was dealing with government affairs in the palace, suddenly raised his head and looked towards the center of the hall. In the next second, a portal splashing with magical sparks appeared where Loki was looking. Immediately afterwards, Elsa and Anna walked out of the portal with a girl Loki had never seen before. But facing the two Wangzhou daughters whom he hadn't seen for a long time, Loki's eyes were not on them, but on the strange woman. Because from that girl, Loki felt a very familiar feeling, and the last time he had the same feeling was when Lee was studying in Kamar Taj more than 1,000 years ago. At that time, the most important thing for him every day was to conduct research on Tesseract after returning to the dormitory from the library. At this time, Lu Ji had already guessed the identity of the strange woman brought back by Aisha and Anna. At the same time, a brand new plan also appeared in his mind. In the middle of the hall, looking at the way their father looked at them, Elsa and Anna suddenly felt a chill down their backs, as if something bad was about to happen. Aisha nervously looked at Loki on the throne, but as soon as she met Loki's gaze, her head drooped guiltily, and she didn't dare to look at him again. Why are you so cautious? Since you have come back on your own initiative, can I, father, still deliberately make things difficult for you? Hearing this, Aisha finally breathed a sigh of relief and relaxed. Anna was also happy for Elsa and Loki's reconciliation, showing a joyful smile. Seeing this, Anna strikes while the iron is hot, briefly explaining to Loki the ins and outs of their bringing Carol back this time. Dad, is there any way you can help Carol so that she can recover her previous memories? After Anna's narration, Loki also confirmed that his guess was correct. The girl brought back by the sisters is the famous superhero in the future, on Team Marvel. In this way, the premise for the establishment of the entire plan is in place. Loki thought to himself, how do you want me to help her? Loki asked, looking at the two daughters. Dad, can you ask Grandpa to allow Carol to enter Asgard to use the Soul Forge? Aisha asked tentatively. Loki shook his head. If this is the requirement, you don't have to think about it, it's impossible. Loki rejected Aisha's request without hesitation. It's not because he couldn't bear the shame and pleaded with Odin for Aisha's request. Mainly since the Asgard Collapse project was launched, the entire Asgard is now controlled by him through complete hypnotic ability. At this time, if Aisha and Anna take Carol to Asgard for treatment, it is likely to disrupt his previous deployment. Then Dad, is there any other way you can help Carol? After Aisha's proposal was rejected, Anna asked another question. Loki thought for a moment before saying, there is a way to try, but I can't guarantee it will work. What way? Aisha and Anna asked in unison. I can try to stimulate her brain nerves with illusion. This method has certain risks, and it may not be effective. Hearing Loki said that there might be risks, Elsa and Anna fell into silence, not knowing what to do. But at this time, Carol, who had been silent all this time, suddenly said very firmly, I am willing to give it a try. Feeling Elsa and Anna's concern for her, Carol is more and more eager to retrieve her memory and find the bits and pieces of their relationship with each other. So even if there was a risk, Carol decided to fight it out. At the same time that Carol made a decision, Luigi showed a slight smile on the corner of his mouth. Because so far, everything is going according to his plan. Aisha and Anna don't know about the skill of illusion, but Loki knows it well. As an auxiliary ability, it is impossible to cause any harm to Carol. Loki said that just to give him an excuse to mobilize Carol's instincts for a while. I think back then, in order to develop the fairy mode, he studied the energy structure of Tesseract day and night and analyzed its operating principle. But after studying for such a long time, the final result still fell short. But Captain Marvel was just accidentally hit by the Tesseract energy leaked from the photon engine, and by chance, he actually realized the fairy mode that Loki hadn't completed yet. This not only enhanced Carol's physical fitness, but when the ability was activated, he could also constantly obtain energy from the outside world, convert it into light energy in his body, and then emit it through his hands. Loki hopes that by studying the mystery Chej of the immortal mode's unexpected success on Year, he can truly realize this skill that he has never been able to complete. After learning about Carol's determination, Aisha and Anna did not speak out to dissuade, but stayed firmly by her side, providing her with spiritual support in this way. Loki was naturally happy to see the results. Since the three of them had no objections, Loki also struck while the iron was hot, and directly began to cast illusions on Carol. The illusion that Loki casts on Carol is the magic Naraku seeing technique. Under the effect of this illusion, Carol will face his most feared things in the environment. But what Loki expected was that when the illusion took effect, Carol's body also had a stress response, and he involuntarily turned on the double star state. Seeing Carol in this state, Aisha and Anna were both startled. Although they have known for a long time that Carol's energy field strength has changed due to unexplained changes. But this is the first time they have seen Carol's energy fully stimulated. Dad, what's wrong with Carol? Is there any danger? Aisha asked quickly. Loki had been checking Carol's changes through magic power, but when he heard Aisha's question, he had to stop temporarily and responded. You don't have to worry, this is just her brain's natural reaction to the stimulation of the illusion. It is a normal phenomenon. As for the source of this ability on her, didn't you say that the light speed engine of the plane she was driving during the mission was developed using Tesseract? It should be that when the plane crashed, the energy in the light speed engine accidentally leaked to her body, and as a result, this super ability was born in her body. From the current point of view, this accident did not cause her any adverse reactions. On the contrary, it made her suddenly possess the strength of a level sub-godfather, which can be regarded as a unique blessing. It is a good thing that no one can envy. After Loki's explanation, Elsa and Anna finally felt relieved, and Loki continued to decipher the mystery of Captain Marvel ability. Combining his experience and theoretical data in developing the immortal mode, Loki's research on Carol's double star state is progressing extremely fast. The reason why Loki failed at the beginning was actually stuck in the step of absorbing natural energy. Just figure out how Carol tames the berserk natural energies, and Loki's celestial mode can be completely perfected. Finally, after double-checking, Loki found in Carol the answer he hadn't gotten for so many years. So that's it. This is the key to the success of the immortal mode. Jotunheim, in the palace of the king. Loki still quietly casts the illusion on Carol. But gradually, as the natural energy from the outside world continued to pour into Carol's body, Loki's magic power had less and less influence on Carol's energy. Finally, at a certain critical moment, the energy in Carol's body helped her break through the influence of Loki and wake up from the illusion. With the failure of the illusion, Carol's double star state gradually converges until it returns to normal state. Carol, how do you feel? Do you remember us coming? Aisha was the first to rush to Carol and asked. But when she saw that Carol's eyes were still full of confusion, she knew that Loki's method didn't work. Carol's response was just as Aisha had guessed. She shook her head and said with some self-blame, I'm sorry, but I failed all of your hard work. Anna hurried forward to comfort her. No such thing, Carol. It's not your fault. Since this method doesn't work, let's think of another method. As soon as Anna finished speaking, Elsa put on a pitiful look and looked at Loki, obviously wanting to express, "Dad, let's think of a way." Ah, Loki covered his forehead helplessly. Not only are his two daughters not little cotton-padded jackets, but they are still looking for him to collect debts. There is a way. Didn't you just say that before you came to Jotunheim, a group of green-skinned aliens were peeping at your friend's memory? Since they have the technology to capture memories from human brains and digitize them, why don't you go back and ask them to help? After listening to Loki's suggestion, Anna suddenly realized, that's right, why don't we go to them directly, instead of looking far away, come back to Asgard? We are in the dark. But Elsa, who was always slow, didn't react as quickly as Anna. Go back and ask them to help. But what if they don't want to help us? I just froze them all into ice cubes. Hearing Elsa's question, Loki couldn't help but yelled at her. I told you to study more, you insisted on going to the Air Force Academy, and now you can't even understand such a simple question. Since you can freeze them into ice cubes, in the face of absolute strength, as long as they still want to survive, why would they reject you? Aisha also realized that the question she asked was too stupid, so she stuck out her tongue embarrassingly. Okay, take your friends and leave. In the next period of time, if there is nothing particularly important, you should not go back to Jotunheim and Asgard. Your grandfather and I have something to deal with. Loki vaccinated Elsa and Anna in advance. Originally regarding Asgard collapse plan, Loki didn't intend to drag his two daughters into it. But now coincident with the birth of Captain Marvel, Loki had a plan. Bringing Elsa and Anna to the Earth to learn and grow, although they didn't make them grow crooked like Thor, but the peaceful growth environment on the Earth also made them too naive, thinking that their strength is enough solve all puzzles. So Loki decided to take the opportunity of Asgard Collapse Project to train his two daughters well. Let them grow up not only in strength, but also in psychology and spirit. When Anna opened the portal and was about to return to the secret space under the hospital with Elsa and Carol, Loki suddenly stopped them. It's nothing, but it suddenly occurred to me that I haven't performed my trick, Mirror Flower and Water Moon, for you. Alright, the show is over now, you go back. The two sisters Elsa and Anna were confused by Loki's weird behavior, but they are now anxious to help Carol retrieve her memory, so they don't take this matter to heart. After the portal was completely closed, Loki, who stayed in the palace, said to himself, enjoy the last good life on Earth, for a long time to come, you will have to face the challenges I set for you. The next test. On the other side, the three people returned to the underground space of the hospital, only to find that there was an extra person from at the moment in the room just now. It's just that what appeared this time was not an alien creature, but a native Earthling. I said that I accidentally walked the wrong way, will you believe me? Looking at the three Aisha who suddenly appeared in the room through the portal, the one with cropped hair and a slightly rustic appearance, the black youth asked sincerely. What do you think? Aisha asked him back, sending out a cold air, binding his body from the neck down with ice crystals. Well, it seems that you don't believe me. The flattering smile on the black man's face immediately turned into a wry smile. Tell me, who are you? Why did you appear in this place? Anna stopped talking nonsense with him, and started cross-examining him directly. My name is Nick Fury, and I am an agent of the Strategic Homeland Defense Offensive and Logistics Agency. The reason why I am here is because the accident report of the crash incident by Ms. Carol behind you is strange, so the superior sent me here to investigate secretly. People under the eaves had to bow their heads. Faced with the dangerous ability that Aisha has mastered that he has never seen before, Nick Fury explained his identity and mission very cooperatively. Are you from the Homeland Strategic Defense Attack and Logistics Support Agency? Aisha asked. It's true, Nick Fury replied very positively. In this case, you should stay here honestly for a while, and when we are done with our affairs, we will let you go. Knowing that the other party is an agent of the Homeland Strategic Defense Attack and Logistics Support Bureau, that is, Howard Stark's subordinates, Aisha didn't continue to trouble him. Aisha, let's break their ice, we need their help next. Hearing Aisha's words, Anna stopped paying attention to Nick Fury and turned her attention to those aliens. But Nick Fury, who was left aside by them, was terrified by the scene of Aisha unblocking the group of aliens. After all, He never thought that he would be able to see aliens in his lifetime, and they were such ugly aliens. On Morag, Loki came here again after 1,000 years, and the environment on the planet is still as desolate as before. In the past, there are still traces of his battle with egg duplication here. Those objects that were frozen by the Ice Age even after thousands of years, still have no trace of melting. Recalling Yi Jie, the former mortal enemy, if nothing else happened, the other party should still be frozen on the original planet. There are so many things that I almost ignored the existence of Yi Jie. After this matter is completed, find a time to completely eliminate him. With my current strength, it is completely enough. That's right, Loki came to Morag again this time, not to appreciate the past. This time he put down the Asgard collapse plan and came here. The real purpose is to try the fairy mode again. All this is thanks to his 2 daughters who sent Captain Marvel Carol Danvers in front of him, which made him finally find the key to perfecting the immortal mode. However, although Loki is very confident about this attempt, he believes that he will be able to succeed. But just in case the magic runaway event like the last time on Earth happened again, Loki finally chose the deserted planet Morag as the test site. Coming to the abandoned temple where the cosmic spirit orb was previously stored, Loki first sealed the entrance and exit of the temple with the power of freezing, and then used magic to set up various protective and warning measures around it. After finishing all this, Loki sat down cross-legged, and began to recall all the details of the perfect fairy mode in his mind. In fact, the original version of the fairy model that Loki independently researched was very close to success. In theory, Loki has completed 100%, but in practice, there is still a lack of flexibility that requires careful consideration. This kind of research and polishing of details often takes a lot of time and energy. For Loki, who is seeking to improve his strength as soon as possible, such input and output are not worthwhile. So after the first failure, Loki temporarily gave up the study of the immortal mode. Fortunately, these shortcomings have been made up for with the emergence of the perfect case of Carol Danvers. After carefully investigating Carol in the double star state, with magic power, Loki finally knew the reason why he failed in the first place, and at the same time found the path to success. The reason why Loki failed in the first place was because he built the energy matrix in his body. This led to the fact that when the energy matrix started to operate, the violent raw energy had to pass through his body before it could be gathered into the energy matrix. And in this process, Loki's body must withstand the pressure and damage brought by the violent raw energy, otherwise the whole process will fall short and even the magic calendar will go berserk. But this is not the case in Carol. Almost every cell in her body is an independent energy matrix. The benefits of this distributed structure, on the one hand, eliminate the pressure caused by the process of absorbing the original energy. On the other hand, the speed and efficiency of energy absorption and transformation are greatly improved. For Loki, this may be the perfect way to achieve fairy mode. However, if Loki wants to achieve the same effect as Carol on himself, the difficulty is not ordinary. It can be said that Carol can have such an ability, it can be said that it is purely a coincidence. If another person is directly hit by the energy extracted from the Tesseract, then there is a high probability that this person will directly turn into a pile of ashes, not the second Captain Marvel. Loki wants to use his own power to realize this accidental miracle, the difficulty of which can be imagined. First of all, it is almost impossible to construct an energy matrix in each cell. You know, the number of cells in a person is generally between 40 and 60 trillion. Even if the Millennium building blocks can constantly provide Loki with energy, it would take unimaginable energy and time to construct an energy matrix in each cell. But since Loki has come to Morag, he must have already figured out a solution. Originally, Loki was also very troubled by this problem. After all, he could not leave everything behind and build an energy matrix for his cells every day. If there is no better way, then he can only give up the skill of immortal mode again. Fortunately, I finally thought of a solution for Loki, and this solution is related to the Supreme Mage Ancient One. It is precisely because of Ancient One's exploration that Loki knows that the magic power obtained through faith or blood is mixed with the will of the gods. To break the boundaries between different magic systems, it is necessary to purify the magic power, or directly use the pure energy in the 1,000-year-old building blocks like Loki. But now, Loki intends to do the opposite, mixing his own will with the pure energy extracted from the 1,000-year-old building blocks. Loki's idea is very simple. Since it takes a lot of time and energy to build the energy matrix in the cells one by one, why not just automate the whole process? Injecting one's own will into pure magic, although it will also consume a lot of Loki's mental power. But in terms of the efficiency of building the energy matrix, letting the magic power act by itself is far more efficient and faster than letting Loki control the magic power. Magic automation. Even Loki admired himself for being able to think of such a good way. That is to say, Loki possesses a supply source of infinite pure energy like Millennium Building Block, and also has the spiritual power of level Godfather, so he can use this, rich and willful, method. But even so, Loki estimates that it will take at least a week for his mental strength to fully recover. It can be seen that although this method is good, the consumption of mental power is also extremely terrifying. In just a few minutes, Loki has simulated in his mind all the details of the entire process of opening the fairy mode. Now is the time to put your theory to the test by putting it to the test. Summoning the 1,000-year-old building blocks from the king's treasure, the real challenge has just begun. Midgard, Air Base Hospital underground space. That's how it is, we are not invaders who want to invade the Earth, we are just wanderers in exile in the universe. Quote, because we, the Skrulls, resisted the tyranny of the Kree Empire, we were hunted down by the legions of their accusers. Thanks to Dr. Marvel's help, we were able to escape safely to Earth. Wendy Lawson is Dr. Marvel's alias on Earth. She promised to help us develop the light speed engine so that we Skrulls can get rid of the Kree Empire once and for all. But before the Doctor could complete the development of the light speed engine, the Kree discovered our whereabouts. They sent fighter planes, shot down the plane piloted by your friend, and killed the Doctor. We had no choice but to peek into her memory in order to find the energy core that makes the light speed engine. It's a pity that you found this place before we had the key information, and you froze us all into ice. In the room, these alien creatures claiming to be Skrulls all raised their hands high and squatted on the ground with their backs against the wall. Under the strong threat of force from the two sisters Elsa and Anna, one of the leaders named Talos told them the ins and outs of the matter. But how do we know whether what you say is true or false? Why should we believe you? Anna was skeptical about Talos's account. Okay, this little girl. Talos was about to explain when he was rudely interrupted by Anna. If you dare to call me, little girl, again, I will kick you in some places that I shouldn't. Talos. Should I guess where that might be? Your ass. Nick Fury and Carol said in unison. Oh, well, I was rude. Well, dear lady, I have a piece of evidence in my hand that I think should be enough to prove the reliability of what I just said. Can I take it out of my pocket? Don't worry, I will never make any small moves. Talos pointed to his coat pocket and asked Elsa and Anna for instructions. Aisha nodded. You'd better think it over yourself, because in front of me, no small move of yours can escape my eyes. Talos is still very honest, and he also knows very well that with the strength of Elsa and Anna, if he wants to save his life, it is better to be more honest. He took out a CD from his coat pocket and threw it accurately at Elsa's feet. This is the recording of the plane accident that day. Our people copied it from the black box of the crashed plane. Why? Wait, Aisha said in surprise. Didn't those who investigated the plane accident say that all the black boxes have been destroyed? That's it. I forgot to explain it just now. Please allow me to explain. As Talos spoke, his ugly green appearance was constantly changing. In just a few seconds, he turned into exactly the same as Elsa. This is a small ability of us Skrulls, which can turn into the things we have seen. With this ability, I can go wherever I want to go. For example, the Strategic Homeland Defense Attack and Logistics Support Bureau, and the scene of the plane crash that day. Aisha. I understand, please change back quickly. If I see you dare to look like me again in the future, that person will be prepared to be an ice sculpture for the rest of his life. Elsa's words frightened Talos into revealing his true form instantly. Anna picked up the CD, walked to a computer, and put it into the CD-ROM drive. Soon, the contents of the disc were played, which was a recording of the conversation between Carol and Dr. Lawson on the plane. The content of the recording can prove that Carol and Dr. Lawson were attacked by Kree Empire fighter planes, and the purpose of Dr. Lawson's research on the light speed engine was indeed to end a war. All of this is basically consistent with what Talos told before, but it is not enough for Anna to completely believe Talos. Because of the contents of this CD, Talos and the others have already heard it. It is not difficult to make up a story without loopholes based on the content inside. To make the direction of the whole thing clearer, Carol's lost memory in the accident is the key to everything. Anna, the evidence you presented does not completely prove that what you are telling is the truth. If everything you said is true, then help us restore Carol's memory first. Use the probe you just made. Her memory device should be able to do that, right? Regarding the condition proposed by Anna, Talos could only nod and agree. After some adjustments to the equipment, Carol was placed on the equipment again in the form of hanging upside down. After a while, the two memory reading heads will release neural electric current that simulates human brain waves. I will reverse the direction of the electric current to stimulate her brain and help her recover past memories. Talos explained the working principle of the equipment to Elsa and Anna, and when they saw no reaction, he officially turned on the 157B equipment. As the device was turned on, a very painful expression could clearly be seen on Carol's face. It seemed that with the recovery of her memory, she also began to mumble uncontrollably, and from time to time she would spit out the names of Elsa, Maria and Anna. As Carol's speaking speed continued to increase, her double star state was activated again. The powerful energy destroyed the Skrull's machines and equipment, but fortunately, Elsa released the ice wall in time to protect everyone, and other people in the room were not affected by the burst of energy. When Elsa lifted the ice wall, all areas outside her protection range had collapsed. One can imagine what the state of the hospital on the ground would be like at the moment. Carol, on the other hand, was exuding this golden light, her eyes closed tightly, and she was floating quietly in the air. Elsa and others did not step forward to disturb Carol, but continued to wait where they were. A few minutes later, Carol finally opened her eyes and looked at everyone, and this time Elsa and Anna knew through her eyes that the Carol Danvers they knew was finally back. Chapter 71. Morag. If someone has been paying attention to the changes in this planet, they will be surprised by what it looks like now. Because the entire planet, at the moment, has been completely covered with a layer of silver. The once dry and desolate land has now been replaced by thick ice and snow. For those who didn't know, they thought this was Niflheim, the underworld of ice and snow. But there is indeed nothing left on this planet except coldness and death. And all these changes are naturally related to Loki, who came here to try to activate the immortal mode. Loki tried to activate the immortal mode again this time, and it was extremely smooth compared to the first time. Although it took a lot of mental energy to infuse one's will into the pure magic output of the Millennium building blocks. But whether it is completing the construction of the energy matrix in each cell, or absorbing the original energy from the dimensional space and converting it into Loki's own magic power, there will be no mistakes or accidents in the entire process. So this time, Loki succeeded. The skill he started to create more than 1,000 years ago, the Sage mode that can obtain endless magic power from the dimensional space, finally turned into the power of Loki at this moment. With the successful opening of the immortal mode, Loki's strength has also crossed from the early stage of level Godfather to the middle stage, and suddenly reached the level of the late level Godfather. Based on Loki's current strength, there are only a handful of existences that can pose a threat to him in the entire Marvel Universe. And with the success of the immortal mode, Loki's vitality has also increased beyond imagination. Loki can clearly sense that his current lifespan has far exceeded the limit of 5,000 years as a giant of Jotunheim. This state is very similar to those gods who rule a dimension. It can be said that as long as Loki can always obtain energy from the dimensional space, his life can always be maintained in a young state. Not only that, because Loki's immortal mode builds an energy matrix in each cell. This means that even if Loki's body is destroyed to the point where only one cell is left, as long as his soul is still intact, it can be restored to its original state through the elemental ability. With such recovery ability, I'm afraid Wolverine will call him Big Brother when she sees him. Even Loki, who has lived for more than 1,000 years, can't suppress the excitement in his heart due to the changes brought about by the successful activation of Sage mode. So the innocent Morag became the target for him to release his emotions. This is why Morag has now become an ice planet. Based on Loki's impact on the environment here, I am afraid that there will be no possibility of this planet warming up in the next hundreds of thousands of years. At this point, Loki's goal of coming to Morag this time has been completely achieved. Before returning to Jotunheim, Loki planned to get rid of Ego's body that was frozen by him thousands of years ago. Flying Thor was activated, and Loki instantly disappeared from the ice fields of Morag, and then appeared on a planet also covered in ice and snow an unknown number of light years away. This is the planetary protective shell that Ego built for himself by using his ability to manipulate molecules in order to protect his own body. Loki, who was not strong enough to kill Ego at the time, spent several days completely freezing the entire planet in order to prevent Ego's god's body from being born here and sealed Ego in his lord. But now that he is here again, Loki can no longer sense the presence of the god Ego. Excluding the almost zero answer that the opponent has been frozen to death by his own ice, then the only thing that can explain this phenomenon is that Egg's body has escaped from his seal. It can be inferred from the complete ice seal on the planet's outer shell that Ego was not rescued by anyone else. Loki guessed that the other party must have completely abandoned the two bodies that took many years of hard work to create, and then slowly escaped from the ice through its own ability constantly infiltrating. Loki was very surprised that Egg would make such a decision to get out of trouble. Because this means that Egg needs to expose his body to the universe without protection. This is definitely a desperate decision for Egg, who cherishes his life very much and built a planet as his protective shell in order to save his life. It seems that Ego is also very worried that during the time when he was sealed, Loki will be completely wiped out after he returns and becomes more powerful. However, it probably hasn't been long since Egg escaped from the seal, and Loki can still sense the residual traces of energy left by him in the surroundings. It's a pity that Loki came a step too late. If it had been earlier, he might not be able to track the direction in which Egg escaped. But now, it will be more difficult to find the other party. With the lesson learned from the previous time, it is estimated that Egg will be honest for a while. As for whether the other party will cause trouble for Asgard as a means of revenge against Loki. To be honest, if Egg really made such a mindless decision, then Loki would still welcome him. At least he didn't have to look for him, he would just come to his door. Now the entire Asgard is affected by the complete hypnotic ability and has fallen under Loki's control. Once any trouble occurs, Loki can immediately return to Asgard by flying Thor or the portal. According to his current strength, as long as Ego dares to come to his door, the only possible outcome for him is to return to the embrace of the goddess of death. Since you ran away, I'll let you go for the time being. But you must hide it, Egg. If I find you, your fate will definitely be more tragic than being blown up by your filial son. Quote. After saying that, Loki handed over a super large jade Rasengan shuriken, turning the entire planet into dust, and then disappeared into the universe. So, why did you come here? In the mirror space, with the help of Elsa and Anna, a Quinjet that was still under development was brought here without anyone noticing. Along with them, in addition to Carol and the Skrulls, there was also the rustic and naive Black Agent. It is the responsibility of our Strategic Homeland Defense Attack and Logistics Bureau to deal with such abnormal events, and I am very useful. At least I can help you take care of this little kitten. Nick Fury shamelessly picked up Gugu and showed an ugly smile. Anna rolled her eyes, but still patted the other party's shoulder, quietly leaving a magical mark of Thor. Then you have to follow us closely, otherwise we may not be able to protect you. After confirming that the whole story was exactly what Talos said, Elsa, Anna and Carol all agreed to help the Skrulls find Dr. Lawson's laboratory hidden in space. Definitely more importantly, the missing Tesseract was in Dr. Lawson's laboratory. Only by getting it can Elsa be confident that she can deal with the next space fleet sent by the Kree Empire and ensure the safety of the Earth. So, under the leadership of Elsa, they stole the Quinjet experimental machine that had not yet been successfully developed, and gave it to the chief scientist of the Skrulls to modify it in the mirror space to meet the conditions of the outer space environment. I don't have any objections to bringing this waste. But should we first decipher the coordinates of Dr. Marvel's laboratory? My tribe and I have been studying for several days, but we haven't found anything at the coordinates in the recording. Talos set his sights on Carol, the key figure who saw Dr. Lawson for the last time. As for Nick Fury, whom Talos called trash, he was squatting in the corner with a livid face, drawing circles and cursing him. Regarding Talos's question, Anne and Carol responded to him with a look of care for the mentally retarded. In the end, Carol answered his question. The numbers Dr. Lawson told me are not the coordinates of the laboratory, but the vector state of the laboratory, which are used to locate the orbit and speed of the laboratory. So as long as we use some of the physics knowledge ABBA taught in junior high schools on Earth, we can calculate the orbit and position of the laboratory outside the Earth. Anna continued Carol's words, with a full tone in her voice. Ridicule. Talos's face turned red after hearing this, and he was so embarrassed that he wanted to dig a hole and get in. It's impossible to hide the look in a person's eyes. He looked at the Skrull who was transforming Quinjet not far away and said with a ferocious expression as if he had eaten 9 rounds of fat sausage. You can't understand such a simple question, and yet you have the nerve to say that you are the chief scientist of our Skrulls. But I didn't go to junior high school on Earth either. This was the rebuttal from the chief scientist. Although he did not go to junior high school on Earth, the chief scientist of the Skrulls still completed the task brilliantly. Riding on the Quinjet modified by him, everyone successfully found Dr. Lawson's laboratory hidden in the orbit of the Earth's satellite, a spacecraft from Crete. The structure of the spacecraft was very simple. Dr. Lawson did not set up any protective devices here. Everyone quickly passed through the hatches and arrived at the laboratory built by Dr. Lawson. Here, the Tesseract was placed on an experimental bench without any protective equipment. Carol reached out and took it down easily. But this was thanks to Carol. After being irradiated by Tesseract energy, she dared to touch the Tesseract directly with her hands so unscrupulously. If it were anyone else, he might have been transported to any unknown corner of the universe just like the original Red Skull. Elsa came to Carol, took a toy box from the table nearby, and asked Carol to put the Tesseract in it. At this moment, Anna also walked up and looked at the layout of the laboratory with a solemn face. Why are there children's things in Dr. Lawson's laboratory? As soon as she finished speaking, Anna saw a steaming cup across the table. And this can only prove one thing, there are other people here. Just when Anna was shocked to realize this fact, Talos and the other Skrulls who had been following them began to make a cry similar to the shouting on the prairie. Sound is constantly reflected and superimposed by the wall, forming an amazing sound field effect. Soon, a similar voice began to be heard from a distance, intersecting with Talos and his others' voices. After receiving the response, Talos and others all showed excited expressions on their faces. And Anna and the others finally knew why there were children's toys in Dr. Lawson's laboratory. At the entrance of the laboratory, a female Skrull with a big belly appeared in everyone's sight with a group of Skrulls behind her. Most of these Skrulls are women, some are obviously old at first glance, and the rest are all children whose height is less than the waist of an adult. It seems that the real purpose of Talos' finding here is not the Tesseract, but his family and tribesmen who have taken refuge in this laboratory. Seeing the leading pregnant woman and Talos embracing each other affectionately, Anna revealed the truth of the matter. But at this warm moment, a violent explosion suddenly occurred outside the spacecraft, followed by a series of countless footsteps. It's people from the Kree Empire who are here. Talos made a judgment in an instant. The Skrulls who heard this sentence all showed panic expressions on their faces. But at this moment, Elsa, Anna and Carol stood up together. Don't be afraid, everyone, we 3 sisters are here today. No matter how many people the Kree Empire sends, don't even think of harming a single hair of yours under our noses. As she spoke, Elsa's hands were already dissatisfied with the frost, and the Air Force training uniform on her body was changed by magic into an ice blue dress. Anna also used the dress-up magic to put on a suit of heroic armor, and had 2 more long swords in her hands. Although Carol doesn't know magic, her transformation is indeed the most eye-catching, because her whole body is sparkling at this moment. As the being with the weakest fighting ability in this room, Nick Fury, who watched the 3 of them complete their transformation, hugged Gugu and very consciously crouched in the corner and hid. Is that why the Kree Empire's warriors are so weak? In a corner of the laboratory, Nick Fury held Gugu in his arms and asked Talos beside him with a relaxed expression. While Nick Fury was speaking, the Kree who broke into Dr. Lawson's laboratory had all been defeated by Aisha and the others. Some were frozen into ice sculptures by the magic of ice and snow, some were cut in half by a sword, and some bodies were filled with holes penetrated by energy. Looking at such a bloody and one-sided situation in front of him, it is no wonder that Nick Fury would ask such a question. You ask as if we Skrulls are useless. You have to know that it's not that the people of the Kree Empire are too weak, but that the three of them are too strong. Talos responded to Nick Fury's question speechlessly, but the eyes he looked at Aisha and the three of them were full of shock. After taking down a group of Kree Empire soldiers, Aisha and the other three did not relax their vigilance. They knew very well that the group of people just now were just the vanguard sent by the Kree Empire to investigate the situation, and the other party did not pay any attention to it at all from the Earth and the Skrulls. Now that they have completely eliminated this team, what they will face next is the truly difficult challenge. Carol, let me put on this battle suit. If we have to fight the Kree Empire's space fleet later, the clothes you are wearing now will not last until the end of the battle. Anna summoned a battle suit that was once the standard equipment of the Asgard Valkyrie from the King's treasure and handed it to Carol. Carol took the battle suit without any courtesy, took it to find a suitable room and changed into it. They must be fully prepared for the battle that will happen next. At this moment, a Skrull who had been observing the external situation through the porthole shouted in panic, "They are coming. The Accuser Legion fleet of the Kree Empire is coming." The Legion of Accusers is an organization that controls the military power of the Kree Empire and upholds the law. And the Accuser is the commander. After completing space jumps through wormholes, more and more Kree Empire warships appeared outside the Earth. The fleet sent by the Kree Empire to Earth this time is more than enough to completely destroy the entire Earth, not to mention the annihilation of the Skrulls. In the face of such a powerful force, the only forces on the Earth to fight against it are three girls, Elsa, Anna and Carol. Normal people can use their toes to know how ridiculous this thing is, but it actually happened. As soon as the three of them received the alarm, they came out of the spaceship through the portal. Elsa, Carol, we must fight quickly. Once the enemy seizes the loophole, they will definitely launch an attack on the Earth. With the help of Elsa's speaking magic, Anna reminded the two people beside her. In response, Aisha and Carol both nodded and tried their best. Elsa took out the Tesseract from the toy box and invoked its power. In an instant, the Kree battleship that appeared in front of them was covered with a thick layer of ice crystals. Probably because Elsa's action was so fast, new warships continued to appear in the universe beyond the Earth through space jumps. Before they had time to receive the news of the destruction of the first batch of battleships, they were attacked by Carol in the double star state. So the second batch of arriving battleships, together with the first batch of battleships frozen by Elsa, all turned into a pile of space junk floating in the universe under Carol's impact. Anna was definitely not to be outdone, and summoned her favorite spiral sword from the King's treasure, waiting for the arrival of the third batch of battleships. But I don't know whether Anna is lucky or bad. When it was her turn to take action, the Kree fleet seemed to have known that the Earth they despised was actually not easy to mess with, so they decisively stopped sending troops. Reinforcement orders. Is that why the Kree Empire's battleships are so weak? In the laboratory, Nick Fury, who was standing by the porthole and saw everyone passing by, held Gugu in his arms and asked Talos beside him again with a relaxed expression. And Talos had no choice but to repeat that sentence again. You have to know, it's not that the Kree Empire people are too weak, but the three of them are too strong. Although the trouble has been successfully resolved, Talos at this moment can't help but have a question in his mind. What kind of magical planet is the Earth that can give birth to these three such powerful women? If we had known that the Earth was such a crouching tiger, hidden dragon, there would be no need for Dr. Lawson to study the light speed engine. Why not just ask them for help directly? He was definitely just thinking about it. If they had known from the beginning that there was such a powerful existence hidden on the Earth, they might not have chosen to land on the Earth from the beginning. After all, as outsiders, if they are accidentally misunderstood and have any bad intentions, there is a high probability that the powerful people hidden on the Earth will have already dealt with them without waiting for the Kree Empire to find them. Just like when they first met Elsa and Anna, Elsa froze them without saying a word. "Non my family, its heart must be different." Even Talos has to admit that in order to ensure his own safety, implementing the laws of the Dark Forest is the best choice for the long-term continuation of a civilization. Just when Talos was thinking wildly, Elsa and the other two passed through the portal again and returned to the laboratory. "It's okay. The Kree Empire was taught a lesson by the three of us this time and suffered such heavy losses. I think they should not dare to make trouble on Earth again in the future. Carol announced, looking at a kind of scroll. That's right, and the disappeared Tesseract has also been recovered. Next, we just need to use the data left by Dr. Lawson in the laboratory to redevelop the light-speed engine. I believe you will be able to start a new life soon. Elsa shook the Tesseract in her hand and continued Carol's words. However, at this moment, it seemed that Elsa's movements attracted Gugu's attention. Gugu in Nick Fury's arms suddenly opened his mouth wide, spit out several tentacles, grabbed the Tesseract, and then swallowed it in his own belly. After seeing this scene, Nick Fury felt that his outlook on life was about to collapse. He was so frightened that he quickly let go of his hand and threw the kitten out of his arms. The frightened Gugu kicked off his hind legs, leaving 3 scratches on Fury's left eye. However, he still relied on his flexible skills to toss and turn in the air and landed firmly on the ground. Seeing Fury howling in pain, Talos couldn't help but gloated. I told you a long time ago, that's an element-devouring beast, not a little kitten. As the invading Kree Empire fleet was instantly killed by Elsa, Anna and Carol, the crisis that started with the death of Dr. Lawson also came to an end temporarily. After everyone returned to Earth, the three Elsa told Maria Rambeau the truth. So, aliens do exist. Although she really wanted to believe her 3 sisters, this sudden fact still made Maria feel a little hard to accept. Then she saw one of the men following Carol, who came back with them, instantly turned into an ugly humanoid creature with green skin. Maria tried hard to keep her eyes widened in surprise from falling out of her sockets, then stiffly turned her head to look at Elsa and Anna and asked cautiously. Elsa, you just said that you and Anna are actually aliens who have lived on the Earth since childhood. Can you also complete this transformation? Seeing Maria's appearance, Elsa and Anna looked at each other and couldn't help laughing. Ha 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 ha, Maria, Anna and I are not of the same race as them. What we look like now is what we are. Hearing this, Maria breathed a sigh of relief, and then asked, what are your plans next? If your identity and ability are known to the government, they will definitely not let you go easily. While talking, Maria secretly winked at Aisha and the others, and kept looking at the agent from the Strategic Homeland Defense Attack and Logistics Support Bureau aside. But being an agent, how could Nick Fury not see these little moves of Maria Rambeau? In fact, Nick Fury also felt very confused about how to report this incident to his superiors. The shock and impact this experience brought to him completely destroyed the worldview he had established in the previous decades of life. Fury even doubted that if he reported this matter without any evidence, his superiors would treat him as a lunatic and lock him up directly. But even if his superiors believed his mission report, Fury felt uncomfortable. Just like Maria Rambeau said, once this matter is exposed, the originally peaceful lives of Elsa, Anna and Carol will be completely broken. The 3 of them are the heroes who just saved Nick Fury and the entire Earth. If I report their identities and abilities to my superiors, wouldn't this be a proper act of repaying kindness with enmity? On one side is loyalty as an agent of the Strategic Homeland Defense Attack and Logistics Bureau, and on the other side is loyalty to heroes and saviors. Nick Fury feels that he is now caught in a dilemma where he cannot have his cake and eat it too. Compared to Nick Fury's entanglement, Carol seems very free and easy. Through this incident, I have found what I really want to do. There must be many races like the Skrulls in the universe who are facing the threat of the Kree Empire. The greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. I hope to use my power to help them escape from the clutches of the Kree Empire. I will help Talos and the others to find their tribesmen who are lost in the universe, and then find a home where they can start their lives again. Hearing Carol tell her plan, Elsa and Maria's eyes showed reluctance at the same time. But Anna raised her hand very excitedly and said, Carol, I also want to be with you, can you? I think your idea is very meaningful, and I also want to take this opportunity to see our vast world. More scenery in the universe. Elsa was a little surprised by Anna's idea, but she had no intention of stopping her. Elsa and Anna looked at Carol at the same time, waiting for Carol to give her answer. It's definitely no problem. Having you by my side is what I want. The destinations of Carol and Anna have been decided, among them, only Elsa has not yet made her choice. Everyone turned their attention to Aisha, wanting to know what choice she would make. I think Fury should be allowed to bring the truth of this matter back to the Homeland Strategic Defense Attack and Logistics Support Agency. Aisha immediately shocked everyone as soon as she spoke. No one present expected that she would make such a speech. Seeing everyone's surprised looks at her, Elsa also explained, although this crisis was solved by me, Anna, and Carol, we can't always be there when danger occurs. Show up promptly. So I think the Earth needs to know the dangers they may face because the Earth will always have to rely on its own efforts to face these threats from outside the Earth. Quote, after Aisha's explanation, everyone finally understood her true thoughts, and they all agreed with Aisha's idea. But Maria looked at Elsa and hesitated. Although Maria didn't say it out loud, as a good sister who had lived with her for such a long time, Elsa could see through her thoughts at a glance. At the same time, Aisha also knew very well what the choice she made meant. Once Fury brings the information back to the Homeland Strategic Defense Attack and Logistics Support Agency, there will be no going back to those days. It doesn't matter, Aisha comforted Maria. When I made this decision, I had already thought clearly about the risks I might face, and I was willing to accept them all. And although I agree with Fury to take the news back, there are preconditions. That is, Fury can only report the news to the person I designate. When Anna heard Elsa say this, she immediately knew what she meant. Elsa, you are talking about Uncle Howard. Aisha nodded. Yes, with Uncle Howard's ability, he can definitely help the Earth better face such dangers in the future. And I believe that Uncle Howard will not do anything detrimental to us. At this time, Nick Fury was surprised to find out, it turns out you guys know my immediate boss. Elsa and Anna were also very surprised when they heard Fury's words. They did not expect that the person who sent him to the Air Force Base for investigation was actually Howard Stark. But if you think about it carefully, it makes sense. After all, he has watched Elsa and Anna grow up, and Howard will definitely pay more attention to things related to them. However, at this moment, there was a sudden burst of huge amounts of movement outside the house. Everyone came to the window and looked outside, and could see a rainbow coming from the sky and falling outside the room like a waterfall. Elsa and Anna recognized what it was at a glance, and said in unison, Bifrost. While the two of them were still surprised, they didn't know why Bifrost was turned on. The next second, Bifrost disappeared, and a familiar figure appeared in their sight. Skolchini, why are you here? What's wrong with you? Along with the Bifrost came to Earth an ordinary Asgard warrior known as the Executioner, Skolchini. The reason why Elsa and Anna know him is because after Sif married Loki, Skolchini, who is a hybrid between giants of Jotunheim and Asgard people and can withstand the severe cold, was sent to Jotunheim by Heimdall to serve as Sif's guard for a period of time. It was not until Loki decided to move his family to Midgard that Skolchini returned to Asgard and continued his previous work. Before today, Elsa and Anna had not seen him for more than 10 years, but Skolchini unexpectedly appeared in front of them. And judging from the anxious look on his face and the countless scars on his body, things are definitely not simple. Skolchini, who was too injured to support his body and continue to stand, knelt on one knee and supported himself with his right hand. Seeing Elsa and Anna coming in front of him, he immediately braced himself up and said to them seriously, by the order of His Highness Sif, I ask the two princesses to take refuge in Kamar Taj as soon as possible. When the strength reaches level Godfather before that, never go back to Jotunheim and Asgard. With that said, Skolchini took out a letter from his arms and handed it to Aisha. After he completed all this, dense cracks began to appear constantly on his body, and finally turned into a ball of magic dust and disappeared between heaven and earth. Elsa and Anna were completely dumbfounded when they saw this scene. A living life disappeared in front of them, and the other person was a powerful Asgard warrior. But until now, the two of them still have no idea what happened in distant Asgard and Jotunheim. Elsa quickly opened the letter that Skolchini gave her before she died, and Anna put her head next to Elsa and read it together. The letter was written by Sif in rune script, and both of them recognized their mother's handwriting. But the content of the letter made the two people's faces become increasingly ugly, from shock to pain. Sif told the two sisters in the letter that Loth, the previous king of Jotunheim, who voluntarily gave up the throne to Loki thousands of years ago, took advantage of the god King Odin to fall into Odin's sleep, invaded Asgard through the space intersection, and robbed Odin of the treasure house. Casket of Ancient Winters. In the face of the powerful power of Casket of Ancient Winters, Thor was unable to resist. The entire Asgard was completely trapped by the power of ice and fell into huge amounts of chaos. Loth, who quietly returned to Jotunheim with the Casket of Ancient Winters, launched a sneak attack and killed Loki when Loki was unprepared. And quickly passed the coup, regained the throne of Jotunheim, and took control of the entire country's army. Under the protection of several loyal guards, Sif fled back to Asgard with Loki's body, only to find that Asgard was also in a bitter battle. In order to regroup, Sif put on his battle armor again, led the remaining Asgard warriors to start a counterattack against Loth, and handed the letter written by himself to Skolchini, asking him to break through the siege and bring it to Elsa and Anna in Midgard, reminding the two not to return to Jotunheim and Asgard. "Dad, he is dead." The two sisters were struck by lightning when they saw the news and couldn't believe it was true. How could the extremely powerful king of Jotunheim and the #1 magician in the 9 realms be killed by a surprise attack in their eyes? Impossible, this can't be true. This is definitely Dad's evil intention to play a prank on us. Unable to accept the fact, Anna began to look for various reasons to explain all the sudden events. But what made Anna collapse was that she found that she could not summon the treasure of the king's treasure through the magic of dressing up. Elsa, who also couldn't accept this fact, even wanted to open the portal and return to Jotunheim to confirm whether all this was true or false, but she was stopped by Carlo, who had quick eyes and hands beside her. With the company and comfort of Carol and Maria, Elsa and Anna finally calmed down. "Elsa, what should we do now? I don't believe Dad was really killed by Loth." Anna, who has always been the one with the most ideas among the two sisters, fell into confusion under such circumstances and instinctively turned to her sister for help. At this time, Aisha also showed her responsibility as a sister. "Whether all this is true or false, we must ensure our own safety now and don't let my mother worry about us. But in case the worst happens, it really happened, then we are the last hope to avenge my parents. So now, we who are not strong enough can only follow what my mother said in the letter and take refuge in Kamar Taj. We cannot return to Jotunheim and Asgard rashly before reaching level Godfather." Anna heard this and silently nodded in agreement with Elsa's decision. Anna came to Carol and said to her, "Sorry, Carol, I can't accompany you to explore the universe. But I once left a magic mark on your shoulder. If you encounter any trouble, as long as you activate it with energy, I will definitely rush to help you as soon as possible." Carol didn't say much, she just gently held Anna in her arms, hoping to add a little warmth and strength to the little sister's heart. "Anna, you go to Kamar Taj alone and wait for me. Fury and I will explain Dr. Lawson's affairs to Uncle Howard together, and then we will go over to find you." After everything was arranged, everyone also ushered in the moment of separation. But no one in the room noticed that there was a pair of eyes beside them that had been observing their every move. And this guy is none other than the king of Jotunheim, Loki, who was declared dead by Skolchini just now. In the corner of the room, Loki stood quietly in the shadows, observing the performances of Elsa and Anna. Loki didn't hide anything, but no one in this room noticed his presence. In fact, he came here a little earlier than Aisha and the others. Even the deaths of Bifrost and Skolchini that everyone saw just now were actually illusions arranged by Loki using magic. Facing the Earth and Skrulls who have no magic power, Loki, the #1 magician in the 9 realms, only needs to use some tricks to confuse them. As for Elsa, Anna and Carol, in order to avoid being spotted by them, Loki had previously used mirror flowers and water moon in front of them, so that at this time he could perform full hypnotic ability and deceive the 5 senses of the 3 of them. And all of this was actually the plan that appeared in Loki's mind in an instant after the 3 people met him in Jotunheim. Loki only needs to allocate a little energy to the established Asgard collapse plan to help Thor become more mature while also allowing Elsa and Anna to grow more. In Loki's planning, this chaos affecting the 2 kingdoms of Jotunheim and Asgard will become the best test for the new king of Asgard and the next king of Jotunheim. Definitely, the premise of everything is that the plan can go smoothly as he expected. Before coming here, everyone had already gone to Kamar Taj to discuss with the Ancient One. This time the Ancient One gave up on making Elsa the next successor to the Sorcerer Supreme and helped him sell calendars for Elsa and Anna. The next time the Ancient One meets a suitable heir, Loki will give him the same help, helping him improve his strength and grow quickly. In addition, Loki also paid an extra price, which was the immortal mode he had just successfully researched. For Ancient One, with the immortal mode, her strength will definitely be enhanced to an epic level. Definitely, the Ancient One is also responsible for teaching the sisters Elsa and Anna how to activate the fairy mode. After all, according to Loki's arrangement, he is now a dead man. After arranging all this, it's time to see what choices and decisions Elsa and Anna will make when facing the test set by Loki for them. Whether the outcome will be good or bad, even Loki himself cannot predict until the test is over. After obtaining the magic mode and yin-yang fish skills from Ancient One, Elsa and Anna's strength increased by a level as expected in just half a year. Elsa finally stepped from level sub-godfather to the early stage of level godfather. Coupled with her naturally powerful ice and snow magic, and her innate ability to breathe life into magical creations, Elsa can almost constantly create magical creatures that have no parent. As for Anna, although she lost the precious phantom in the king's treasure due to Loki's death, the magic of dressing up was almost abolished. But after turning on the immortal mode, relying solely on his strong physical fitness and explosive energy attacks, his strength has reached the level of level sub-godfather. Moreover, the element-devouring beast Gugu, which originally belonged to Dr. Lawson, has now been adopted by Anna. As long as she continues to collect powerful artifacts into Gugu's extra-dimensional space, the magic of dressing up will one day be resurrected. At that time, Anna will be able to cross the threshold of level godfather in one fell swoop and become a strong early level godfather on par with Elsa. Elsa and Anna's strength has just improved, and they can't wait to return to Asgard through the portal. With the leadership of Sif and the assistance of Heimdall and the 3 Asgard warriors, Asgard finally stabilized the situation in the past 6 months and temporarily defended Asgard. However, Loth, who had recaptured the casket of ancient winters, and the giants of Jotunheim army he led still firmly held the advantage of the situation, causing great pressure on Asgard. Because as the ruler of the 9 realms, Sif not only has to ensure the survival of Asgard, but also sends troops to assist other countries in the 9 realms when they are invaded by the giants of Jotunheim. When Elsa and Anna returned to Asgard and saw their mother again, they noticed Sif's tiredness and oldness almost instantly. This shows how many things Sif has shouldered in just 6 months. Elsa, Anna, why are you back? Didn't I tell you to hide in Kamartaj? Come back quickly. Sif, the mother, was definitely very happy to see her daughter whom she had not seen for a long time. But as soon as she thought about the current situation between Asgard and Jotunheim, her words of concern for the two of them turned into severe accusations. Mom, Anna and I have become stronger after this period of special training. Just let us stay and help you. Didn't the letter you gave us before also say that when you reach level godfather? Can you come back? I've done it. Aisha rushed forward, looked directly into Sif's eyes and said with a very serious expression. That's right, Mom. My sister and I are no longer what we used to be. With our current strength, we can not only protect ourselves, but also you and the entire country. Sif obviously did not expect that the strength of his 2 daughters would improve so quickly. But there was no sign of softening in his eyes. I don't need you to help me. As a mother, I just hope that you can protect yourself. Do you know how powerful the enemy Asgard, Qian Zhaohao, is facing now? I don't want to have to do it again in the future. Go through the pain of losing your father again. Mom, Dad, he really has. Anna asked with trembling lips, but she couldn't say the last 2 words. Come with me. Sif's expression showed uncontrollable pain and sadness. In order to prevent Elsa and Anna from worrying about him, Sif quickly turned around to cover up, then quickly stepped forward, leading the sisters towards the apse of Asgard. Soon, Elsa and Anna followed Sif to the front of a heavily guarded room. Outside the room, the soldier in charge saw Sif coming, respectfully made way for a passage, and opened the door for the 3 of them. As soon as Elsa and Anna entered the room, they saw the Queen Frigga guarding next to the dormant cabin. And the person lying in the sleep cabin is none other than the weak god King Odin, who has entered Odin's sleep state. As he gets older, Odin must enter such a deep sleep state every once in a while to restore and extend his life. But whenever Odin's sleep begins, it is when Odin is at his weakest, and at this time he needs the people he trusts most to be by his side to protect him. Thanks to Frigga's constant protection, Lof was prevented from harming Odin when he broke into Asgard to snatch the casket of ancient winters. But it was also because Frigga needed to guard Odin that after Thor was frozen, Asgard fell into a leaderless state and was defeated by the rebels led by Lof. If Sif hadn't stood up in the end and commanded the Asgard army, I'm afraid Lof would have replaced Odin at the moment and become the new ruler of the 9 realms. Not far from Odin's sleeping cabin, there is a crystal ice coffin. Lying in the ice coffin is Loki, who was killed in a sneak attack by Lof. Elsa and Anna took a closer look, looking at Loki's familiar face in the ice coffin, as if he had just fallen into a deep sleep like Odin, and they could wake him up with just a call from the two of them. But from the bloodless face on his face, the two of them knew that no matter how hard they tried, they could not wake Loki up again. After a period of silence, Frigga finally talked about Elsa and Anna. However, unlike Sif's strong opposition, Frigga expressed her willingness to support their wishes after hearing that they wanted to fight for Asgard and Jotunheim. Sif, now that the children have grown up, you can't let them hide under your wings forever. It's time to let them fly freely according to their own ideas. I think when Thor and Loki were at their age, they were not as good as Elsa and Anna. When Frigga talks about Elsa and Anna, her tone is full of pride, but when she mentions Thor and Loki, her eyes can't help showing sadness. Now that Frigga has the support, Sif no longer insists on opposing Elsa and Anna's participation in this war. Elsa began to follow Sif and learn how to become a qualified leader, while Anna was assigned to Nidavel. On the one hand, Anna's dressing magic is in urgent need of a large number of weapons and armors. There is definitely no craftsman in the 9 realms who has better forging skills than the dwarfs of Nidavel. On the other hand, at this critical moment of the confrontation between the two countries, Nidavel, as Asgard's arsenal, must strengthen its guard strength to prevent it from falling into the hands of the Lof rebels. Since Lof held a large number of civilians who supported Loki hostage in Jotunheim, Sif was unable to attack Jotunheim through Bifrost. But now with the initial combat power of Elsa, the level godfather, and the addition of Anna, the level sub-godfather, even if Lof regains the casket of ancient winters, the treasure of giants of Jotunheim, the balance of victory should still go to Asgard. Tilt. But what is surprising is that in such an unfavorable situation, an ally suddenly appeared on Lof's side. And this ally is the Dark Elf clan that Asgard had deemed extinct thousands of years ago. Although the Dark Elf clan was severely damaged by the army led by Asgard's former god king, King Bor, in the Great War thousands of years ago, most of the troops and elites suffered heavy casualties. But even this AHBC force that survived, after allying with Lof's rebels, still caused a lot of trouble for Asgard without Odin. This war, which was originally intended to end with Asgard turning defeat into victory, is now gradually beginning to develop in a protracted direction. However, as time goes by, Asgard's advantage in this war will only become more and more obvious. Because Odin's slumber will eventually end. Once Odin wakes up, the balance between the two sides in this war will be broken in an instant. And after a long period of research, Elsa has found a way to safely unlock Thor's ice. That is to use the eternal fire in Odin's treasure house to slowly melt the ice created by Casket of Ancient Winters. According to the current progress of unblocking, Thor will be able to be freed from it in another 5 or 6 years. After Thor breaks out of the seal, Asgard's strength will inevitably be strengthened again. Under this ebb and flow, the longer the war lasts, the advantage Asgard occupies will only become greater and greater. Hehehehe, if this battle ends too soon, the effect of training will be greatly reduced. It is beyond my expectation that Elsa and Anna's strength can improve so quickly. Fortunately, when I left Morag before, I accidentally discovered the remnants of this dark elf, and then controlled them through complete hypnotic ability. Otherwise, if I had let that old guy Lof face this situation alone, he would have long ago. I can't hold on anymore. Loki, hiding in the dark, is always paying attention to the development of the entire plan. Just in case something unexpected happens and he loses control of the plan, Loki has also prepared various contingency plans. The Dark Elves who suddenly appeared and allied themselves with the Loth rebels were Loki's contingency plan to deal with unexpected situations. Now that Loth has joined the Dark Elves, it will be impossible for Elsa and the others to win this war in a short time. In this case, I just want to take advantage of this time to go back to Midgard. I don't know what happened to the thing that Howard made last time when I got rid of it. With his ability and intelligence, he should have completed it. Loki thought to himself. Flying Thor activated, and the whole person disappeared into the Asgard palace in an instant. And this whole process did not cause Sif and Aisha to notice at all. See you again, Howard. In the laboratory, Howard Stark, who was originally planning to continue revising an experimental data, was so frightened that he almost jumped out of his chair when he heard this sudden greeting. He quickly turned around and looked around, trying to find the source of the sound. After all, it is impossible for ordinary people to enter his laboratory without his permission. That voice just now sounds a bit familiar. Just as Howard was recalling, the answer to the problem had been revealed and appeared in front of him. Howard saw an originally normal space in front of him, suddenly rippled like water, and then Loki walked out of it and appeared in front of Howard. Loki, I guessed it was you. Apart from you, no one else has this ability and can directly enter and leave my office without any authority. As Howard said this, he stepped forward and gave Loki a hug as if he were a friend, without the slightest hint of blame in his tone. Loki also defended himself without any money. I didn't mean to scare you. I was worried that there would be other people around you and it would be inconvenient, so I hid my figure. TCH. Howard rolled his eyes at him disdainfully and said, "Do you think I believe what you said?" After a few simple greetings between the two, Howard began to ask about the purpose of Loki looking for him today. Why did you come to see me today? Didn't you just say that you have set up a test for your two daughters, and they will be very busy later? Why is it all over now? Loki waved his hand towards him and said, "Not yet. If it ends so soon, the effect will not be profound enough. I came to you today to ask about the thing I asked you to do before. That thing, I think. You should have finished it, right?" Even though Howard and Loki are getting along so harmoniously now, when he first learned from Elsa that the Loki family he had known for more than 10 years were all aliens, he was not as calm as he is now. That day, Elsa and Fury appeared in front of him together to report about the Skrulls, the Kree Empire and the like. Howard initially thought that the two people were teaming up to prank him. But if you think about it carefully, it's not right. That day is not April Fool's Day, right? Then in order to prove that what she said was true, Aisha made ice out of thin air directly in front of Howard, and directly suppressed Howard, who had always believed in science. Then, before Howard could fully accept this fact, Elsa opened a portal in front of him, and finally she disappeared from his office. From then on, until today, Howard has not been able to see Elsa and Anna again. But after Elsa left that day, Loki quickly appeared in front of Howard again. That day, Luigi and Howard chatted for a long time. But Howard didn't ask Loki anything about the origin and background of their family. All the conversations always revolved around one theme, whether the friendship between them for more than 10 years was true or false. Although Loki likes to play pranks and is good at conspiracy, he has always been very serious about relationships. In the end, Loki regained the trust of Howard as a friend through his sincerity. At the same time, he also told Howard some of the situations about himself and the Nine Realms, asking him to make various preparations in advance for the dangers that the Earth may face in the future. After all was said and done, Loki also made a request to Howard. He summoned the Millennium Building block from the King's treasure and handed it to Howard's hand and said, "You can use the experimental equipment here to check this thing 10 times. When Howard heard this, although he felt a little strange, he still did what Loki said. Then he was surprised to find that the thing Loki took out actually had the same gamma-ray radiation frequency as the Tesseract. Don't be surprised. The core of the Tesseract and the Millennium Building blocks I just handed you are actually a kind of rare cosmic treasure called infinite gems. And there are a total of such treasures in the universe we live in. 6. I now know the approximate location of one of them, but if I want to confirm it accurately, I need your help, Howard. The 6 infinite gems all have one thing in common, that is, they all have the same gamma-ray radiation frequency. So I would like to ask you to help me build a machine that can lock on to the infinite gems in the widest possible range, S position. Now that the tesseract has been swallowed by the element-devouring beast into the extra-dimensional space in its belly, the 1,000-year building block in your hand is the only research sample that can be used at present. Howard, who was asked by Loki, agreed without any hesitation. On the one hand, it's because as Loki's friend, Howard was originally very willing to help. On the other hand, as an inventor, Howard had serious curiosity about the 1,000-year brick, a treasure as magical as the tesseract. How could he resist not conducting some research on it? It was precisely because Howard agreed to Loki's request that day that Loki asked Howard today. Don't worry, I have already made a device that can accurately lock the frequency of infinite gems gamma-ray radiation. After actual testing, the effect should be quite good. But because it was only tested on the Millennium brick you gave me, even I, the maker, can't say for sure how effective it will actually be. As he spoke, Howard found something that looked like an old-fashioned pocket watch from the laboratory and handed it into Loki's hands. I call this thing Infinite Gems Radar. It can determine the distance to infinite gems almost within the range of a planet based on the intensity of gamma radiation of a specific wave frequency it receives. I think it should be able to meet the requirements. It's your request. Loki looked at the Infinite Gems Radar, made of silver metal in his hand, with a switch button similar to a watch crown installed on the top, and a green grid screen on the front. Some childhood memories before the time travel suddenly came to life in his mind. A satisfied smile appeared on Loki's face and he said to Howard, "Thank you, Howard. Until I find the target infinite gems, the Millennium Gemstones will continue to be left for you to study, as my reward for you." Dark World, Jotunheim. This is the original birthplace of the Dark Elves, but it is also the final place of the decline of the Dark Elves. Once upon a time, the Dark Elves holding TIE particles were the most popular among the 9 realms. Malekith, the leader of the Dark Elves at the time, even attempted to use the power of TIE particles to plunge the 9 realms into eternal darkness in order to unify the 9 kingdoms. But under the leadership of King Bull, the God King of Asgard, the Dark Elves' ambitions finally ended in failure. The remaining active forces of the Dark Elves, under the leadership of Malekith, escaped from Jotunheim in advance. The artifact TIE particles was sealed deep underground by King Bor because it was too dangerous. The remnant of the Dark Elves that Loki encountered before was the one that Malekith escaped with. It was precisely because he happened to meet them that Loki remembered that there was an infinite gems hidden on Jotunheim. TIE particles, like the Tesseract, the Cosmic Spirit Ball, and the Eye of Agamotto, are all artifacts built with infinite gems as the core. The infinite gems hidden among the TIE particles are the reality gems known as the Universal Wishing Machine. Through Reality Gem, all scientific codes and natural laws can be modified, and events that occur in reality can also be modified and erased. However, it is very difficult to use such a powerful power. Without the assistance of the other 5 infinite gems, using the power of Reality Gem will bring serious backlash to the user. So for Loki, who already has thousands of building blocks, whether he can find TIE particles actually doesn't mean much. The only meaning may be that Loki is worried that someone will really take the risk of backlash and use the power of the Reality Gem to erase him. In order to avoid such a situation from happening, Loki thought it would be better to put the TIE particles into the king's treasure first. As a dead man, Loki did not use the Bifrost, but reached the destination of his journey through the spatial intersection between Asgard and Jotunheim. Facts have proved that the Infinite Gems radar manufactured by Howard is very effective in actual use. After Loki came to Jotunheim, it took less than an hour to locate the location where the TIE particles were sealed by King Bull. After thousands of years of erosion and consumption, even the seal set by King Bor has become fragile. Loki easily broke the seal's magic and obtained the TIE particles in a fluid state. After successfully acquiring the TIE particles, Loki did not observe it too much. He directly opened the treasure and took the TIE particles in. Now that TIE particles have been obtained by him, he no longer has to worry about enemies using the power of the Reality Gem to directly erase the reality of his existence at all costs. As for the famous scene of Thanos snapping his fingers, I'm afraid there will never be a chance to appear in this universe. Jotunheim, Lof sat alone on the throne, but in front of him were not his giants of Jotunheim, but the Asgard army led by Odin. After 10 years of mutual conquest, the war between Asgard and Jotunheim started by Lof finally came to an end. With Thor's unsealing and Odin's awakening, Lof was still defeated by Asgard's army even though he held the casket of ancient winters and formed an alliance with the Dark Elves. In the end, Asgard's army advanced into the royal capital without harming any civilians in Jotunheim, went straight into the palace, and besieged Lof, who had become a lonely man, on the throne. Lof, what else do you have to say now? Odin raised the eternal spear Gungnir in his hand and pointed the tip of the spear at Lof and asked. The winner is the king, and the loser is the bandit. Whether you want to kill or behead is up to you, I have nothing to say. Faced with the threat from the eternal spear, Lof remained calm and said in a calm tone. Since you were reluctant to part with this throne, why did you give it up to Loki in the first place? He is your own flesh and blood. He continued to question. Biological flesh and blood. He has never admitted this matter. When introducing himself in front of everyone, he always said Loki Odin, not Loki Lof. Lof said with contempt and disdain. The reason why I want to pass the throne to him is because of some kind of blood relationship. No, I have been planning for 1,000 years and have been waiting for an opportunity. I want to take my revenge on you when you relax your vigilance, when Asgard is at its weakest. Why do you, Odin, stand so high in front of me, arrogantly forcing me to sign the so-called peace agreement? Why do you want to put the casket of ancient winters, the treasure of my Frost Lord clan, into your Odin's treasure trove? Why would my good-for-nothing son willingly recognize you, Odin, as his father? I, Lof, refuse to accept it. I will let the flame of hatred in my heart burn everything you cherish and love to ashes. This is my, Lof, revenge on you, Odin. Looking at Lof, who was getting more and more crazy on the throne, Odin had an indescribable look of loneliness on his face. And Thor, who was behind him, could not help but want to knock off Lof's head with a hammer to avenge his brother Loki. Father, please give me the task of ending him. I promise that I will never let him die too happily. As he said that, Thor couldn't wait to start spinning Mjolnir in his hand. But what Thor didn't expect was that Odin reached out to stop him. Stop, Thor. Lof can't die yet. Why, father? He killed Loki with his own hands and started a war between Jotunheim and Asgard. Thor's anger surged, and he even yelled at Odin uncontrollably. But what Thor received was not Odin's scolding, but a disappointed shake of his head. Thor, when will you be able to figure out the answer to this question? Will you truly be qualified to become the heir of Asgard? After saying that, Odin waved and had Thor taken out. Then he turned to Lof and said to him, Lof, now it's time to renegotiate the peace agreement between our two countries. The casket of ancient winters was taken away by Odin, and Jotunheim once again became the loser and signed the peace agreement given by Odin. The 9 realms once again ushered in a new round of peace. The result can be said to be a happy one and everyone is happy. As for Lof, Odin did not put him on trial, but handed him over to the new king of Jotunheim, Elsa, to deal with him personally. Lof is Elsa's father-killing enemy. Logically speaking, Elsa's first thing after taking the throne should be to execute Lof to vent her hatred. But Elsa did not do this, and instead sentenced Lof to life imprisonment without the possibility of release based on the laws Loki had previously established for Jotunheim. After 10 years of training and growth, Elsa has understood that as the king of a country, she cannot change the outcome of a thing just based on her likes and dislikes, otherwise the consequences of such arbitrary will eventually come back to bite her, itself. Sif as a mother and Odin as a grandfather are both very satisfied with Elsa's performance. Because even if Lof is executed, Loki cannot come back to life. Compared to imposing the death penalty on Lof, the growth that Elsa gained in this matter is what they, as elders, want to see most. Even Anna did not express any objection to her sister Elsa's decision. The only person dissatisfied with this may be that he was unable to avenge Lof personally, and was even beaten by Thor in reverse by Odin. For this reason, Thor would come to Jotunheim every 2 days to complain to his niece Anna. In his opinion, if there is anyone in the entire family who can understand his thoughts, that would be a shame. Anna, do you think Elsa is too indecisive? It's just a law. Now that she is the head of a country, why not just change it? Even if she ignores the law and directly executes Lof, tell me the whole story. Jotunheim, who dares to stand up and say anything? Let me tell you, it's better to let Anna take this throne. If it were you, you would definitely not let that guy Lof go. As Thor spoke, he drank all the wine in the glass and then dropped the glass directly to the ground. Anna looked at Thor's appearance and sighed secretly in her heart. Her uncle's ideas are too naive and childish. Compared with her father Loki, it is impossible to tell that he was raised by the same parents. No wonder Grandpa is so worried about the future of Asgard. Not long ago, Odin called Anna to him for a private conversation. Come on, Anna, come and sit next to Grandpa. Odin waved to Anna, who was a little embarrassed, and then patted the stool next to him to indicate. More than 10 years have passed in a flash. I think when Loki decided to take you to live in Midgard, you and Elsa were not even as high as your grandfather's knees. I have always been very lucky that my father decided to let my sister and I study and grow up in Midgard. We made many friends there and learned a lot of things that we might never learn in Jotunheim and Asgard. Quote. Regarding Anna's words, Odin nodded in agreement. Yeah, I remember when I first heard Loki say this idea, I was firmly opposed to it. Because your family has moved to Midgard, it's not easy for your grandma and you to see you and Aisha. But it turns out that your father is more far-sighted and more successful than me when it comes to educating future generations. You and Elsa are now grown girls who can stand on their own, unlike that guy Thor. Thousands of years have not taught him how to behave in the world. Grandpa, don't be too anxious. Uncle is just a late bloomer. I believe that as long as you give him more time, in 10 days Uncle you will come up with a performance that satisfies you. Anna, a caring little cotton-padded jacket, while comforting Odin, also did not forget to say a kind word to Thor, an incompetent uncle. Odin waved his hand. You girl, you don't have to comfort me. I still don't know what Thor looks like. Thor does still have a lot of time to grow up, but I don't have much time to look at him, old man. Got it. Originally I was counting on your father Loki. Oh, forget it. Just don't mention this matter. I called you here today because I have something to ask you, Anna. After hearing this, Anna quickly stood up in fear and said, Grandpa, please don't say that. I am your granddaughter. If you have any requests, just tell me. As long as I can do it, I will definitely give it to you. Grandpa, you are beautiful. After Odin heard this, his old face smiled like a wrinkled bun. Then Anna, you can't go back on your word. Come on, we, grandson and grandson, will high-five each other. Odin said, extending the palm of his right hand to Anna. Snapped. Anna didn't give a hesitation and directly high-fived Odin. Grandpa, you can always tell me what exactly you need me to do for you, right? Hey, don't worry, Anna, you can definitely complete this matter. If Thor cannot become a qualified heir to the throne before my life comes to an end, then I hope, Anna, that you can take over the responsibility of Asgard. Become the new ruler of Asgard. After hearing Odin's request, Anna froze on the spot, her mind going blank. When she came back to her senses, she saw Odin there with a successful expression on his face, very much like her impression of Loki who succeeded in his prank. No, Grandpa, you can't make fun of me. This, the ruler of Asgard. I can't do it. I have never thought of trying such a thing. Elsa, haven't you inherited Dad's throne now? Otherwise, you might as well let Elsa take over the throne as well. After Anna regained consciousness, her first reaction was to refuse Odin's request. For her, who yearns for freedom and adventure, there is nothing worse than becoming the king of a country and then living a repetitive life every day. But Odin had an impassive expression. No matter what Anna said, Odin insisted that she had already agreed. Let's do this, Grandpa. If that doesn't work, how about sealing the divine power on my uncle and then exile him to Midgard to live for a while? Upon hearing Anna's suggestion, Odin's eyes suddenly lit up. Your suggestion is feasible. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.